Welcome to Biochemistry DSP channel. Today I'll be discussing about the metabolism of glycogen, glycogenesis. So glycogenesis means synthesis of glycogen from glucose or glucose 6-phosphate. So genesis means synthesis. It occurs in all tissues, but prominently it occurs in the liver and skeletal muscles, where the this liver and skeletal muscles only store maximum amount of glycogen. Glycogenesis requires the key enzymes glycogen synthase. Along with this key enzyme glycogen synthase, it also requires other enzymes like glucokinase, phosphoglucomutase, UDP glucose pyrophosphorylase, and branching enzyme. For glycogen synthesis to occur, it needs a basic molecule on which the glucose residues should be added so that the chain can be elongated. So for this purpose, glycogenin, which is a protein with a polyglucose chain of 8 glucose residues, which is linked together with alpha 1,4 glycosidic bond. That is a pre-formed glucose chain exists in the form of a glycogen primer. The name of the glycogen primer is glycogenin. This glycogenin will act as a flooring to which the glucose molecules from UDP glucose are added like bricks. Then branching enzyme is also required. This branching enzyme is called amylo 1416 transglucosidase. The main purpose of this branching enzyme is after the addition of to the preformed glycogenin, one by one the glycogen will be that is glucose will be added and the chain will be elongated with the help of the enzyme glycogen synthase. The role of this branching enzyme is it helps to transfer few glucose residues, especially 6 residues, okay, 5 to 6 residues from one branch point to another branch point. Thus, it will establish a alpha 1,6 linkage. So, it will create a alpha 1,6 glycosidic linkage, establishing a new branch point. So this is the role of the branching enzyme amylo 1416 transglucosidase, whereas glycogen synthase can add glucose molecule to the it can add only glucose residues to the alpha 1,4 glycosidic linkage. It cannot establish a new branch point. So a branching enzyme will be required to establish a new branch point in the alpha 1,6 glycosidic linkage. So the pathway for glycogenesis is these are the 5 main steps which are involved in the glycogenesis pathway. The first step is that is glucose which is the precursor for glycogen, which gets phosphorylated to glucose 6-phosphate. So first step is phosphorylation of glucose to glucose 6-phosphate with the help of the enzyme called glucokinase in the liver, hexokinase in the muscle. So again ATP will be utilized to form ADP, Mg2 plus is also involved. The second step is the glucose 6-phosphate will be converted into glucose 1-phosphate with the help of the enzyme called phosphoglucomutase. It is a reversible reaction. Then this glucose 1-phosphate will react with uridine triphosphate UTP to yield uridine diphosphate glucose, that is UDPG. This is called the active form of glucose. So the donor UDPG will serve as the glucose donor. Okay. So pyrophosphate will be released in this reaction with the help of the enzyme called UDP glucose pyrophosphorylase. So this is a very important step. Conversion of this glucose 1-phosphate with the help of the enzyme called UDP glucose pyrophosphorylase, which will transfer a glucose residues to this UDP molecule to form the active glucose residue called UDPG, uridine diphosphate glucose. Now the preformed glycogenin. Glycogenin is nothing but a polyglucose chain made up of 8 glucose residues. It's a protein. This will act as a primer for glycogen synthase to transfer this glucose from UDP. Okay, so this UDPG from this uridine diphosphate glucose glycogen synthase enzyme will transfer a glucose residue from this UDP glucose to the non-reducing end of this pre-existing glycogen chain or primer by forming alpha-1,4 glycosidic bond between the C1 of glucose residue from UDP glucose and C4 of the terminal glucose residue of the glycogen primer. So in that way, one by one the glucose residues will be attached to this glycogenin to form glycogen with alpha-1,4 glycosyl units. UDP will be released out. Okay, this is the this glycogen with alpha-1,4 linkage is formed with the help of the enzyme called glycogen synthase, which is the key regulatory enzyme for glycogenesis. Next, the branching enzyme amylo-1416 transglucosidase, which will establish a branch point, which will transfer 5 to 6 residues from one branch point from one chain of glycogen with alpha-1,4 linkage to establish to the other branch point, establishing a new branch point with alpha-1,6 glycosyl units. So the form of with the role of this branching enzyme, the glycogen will be having alpha-1,4 as well as alpha-1,4 glycosyl units. So this is the pathway which of glycogenesis which will take place in the liver and muscle. So regulation of glycogenesis. So this regulation of glycogenesis is mainly controlled by the key enzyme called glycogen synthase, which is the regulatory enzyme. The mechanisms which will regulate this glycogenesis are allosteric, it will undergo allosteric regulation, hormonal regulation and CAMP mediated regulation. These are the major mechanisms by which glycogenesis are regulated. So allosteric regulation of glycogenesis. So here in the well-fed state, glycogen synthesis will be stimulated by allosteric activation of the enzyme glycogen synthase by the high concentration of glucose in the liver and glucose 6-phosphate in the muscle. So high concentration of this glucose and glucose 6-phosphate which will be established during this well-fed state will in turn stimulate the glycogen synthase enzyme to activate glycogenesis. Glucose 6-phosphate and glucose are therefore called as stimulators or modulators of this enzyme glycogen synthase. So this is how the allosteric control of glycogenesis will be regulated. And in the hormonal regulation of glycogenesis, that is in well-fed state and in hyperglycemia state, we can find increased level of glucose, glucose 6-phosphate and ATP, which will trigger the secretion of insulin. So which insulin in turn will activate the enzyme called glycogen synthase, triggering glycogenesis. So glucose 6-phosphate and glucose are activators of glycogen synthase, whereas glucagon epinephrine will inhibit glycogenesis. So this is the hormonal regulation in the presence of epinephrine. Inactive adenylate cyclase will be converted into active adenylate cyclase. The role of this adenylate cyclase is to convert ATP into cyclic AMP. So in the presence of adenylate cyclase, ATP will be converted into cyclic AMP. So increased amount of cyclic AMP will be produced in the presence of the enzyme hormone epinephrine. The role of this CAMP, cyclic AMP, is to activate the inactive form of CAMP dependent protein kinase into an active form of protein kinase. So this cyclic AMP will convert this protein kinase into active protein kinase. The role of protein kinase enzyme is to phosphorylate. So whatever enzymes comes closer to it, this enzyme protein kinase, which is now in the active state. So in the presence of epinephrine hormone, this enzyme protein kinase will be always in the active state, which its role is to phosphorylate. So whatever enzyme comes closer to it, whether it is glycogen synthase or glycogen phosphorylase, its role is to phosphorylate that enzyme. So the main regulatory enzyme, key enzyme is glycogen synthase. It exists in two forms. Okay, dephosphorylated form and as well as in the phosphorylated form. This glycogen synthase, any enzyme will exist in two forms. One will be in the phosphorylated form. The other form of this glycogen synthase is the dephosphorylated form. So we have to know in which form the enzyme is active. So in the case of glycogen synthase, dephosphorylated form of glycogen synthase is called the active form. You have to remember that. Dephosphorylated form of glycogen synthase is active form, whereas phosphorylated form of glycogen synthase is inactive form. So in the presence of epinephrine and glucagon hormone, which enzyme is active? Protein kinase enzyme is more active. The role of this protein kinase is to phosphorylate. So it will supply ATP and it will phosphorylate that enzyme. So now in the presence of this CAMP, cyclic AMP, protein kinase will be in the active form, which in turn will phosphorylate this glycogen synthase. So the phosphorylated form of glycogen synthase is called inactive form. So it converts the active form of glycogen synthase into an inactive form. Is the concept clear here? So this is the main concept you have to understand. So in the presence of epinephrine, glycogen synthase will be in the inactive form, so that no glycogenesis will take place. Whereas this CAMP dependent protein kinase, this is one role of this protein kinase to convert this glycogen synthase active form into inactive form, okay, by phosphorylating the enzyme glycogen synthase. This protein kinase will also phosphorylate an inhibitor protein. So this inhibitor protein, which is in the inactive form, okay, dephosphorylated form of the inhibitor is inactive form. After phosphorylation, this inhibitor phosphate, 1-phosphate, will become active form. So it also in turn it will make this inhibitor protein, which is in the inactive state, into an active state. Two roles it will have. One role is to phosphorylate the enzyme. Whatever enzyme comes closer to it, it will phosphorylate. So any enzyme exists in two form, phosphorylated form and in the dephosphorylated form. You have to remember which form is active form. So for the glycogen synthase enzyme, phosphorylated form is said to be inactive. This enzyme protein kinase in turn will make this inhibitor protein, which is inactive in the dephosphorylated state, whereas after phosphorylation this inhibitor protein will become active. So what is the role of inhibitor protein? It has to inhibit the protein phosphatase. Okay, the role of this inhibitor phosphate is to inhibit the target enzyme, that is the protein phosphatase. So it will also go and inhibit this enzyme protein phosphatase. What is the role of this protein phosphatase? To remove the phosphate. So protein kinase role is to phosphorylate the enzyme. The role of this protein phosphatase enzyme is to dephosphorylate. So it is protein phosphatase enzyme is to cleave that protein. So simultaneously both the actions should not take place. So in turn this protein kinase will also activate the inhibitor also. This inhibitor will go and inhibit this enzyme protein phosphatase, so that this glycogen synthase cannot be again phosphorylated in the presence of in the excess amount of protein kinase. This will remains to be inactive, so glycogenesis will not take place in the presence of the hormone epinephrine and glucagon. Whereas when this glycogenesis will be triggered in the presence of insulin. So when insulin is present during well-fed state, more amount of glucose will be present. This glucose in turn will trigger the stimulation of this insulin and it will stop this epinephrine hormone. So in the case of insulin secretion, calcium will activated. Okay, calcium will also be activated, and insulin role is to trigger another enzyme called protein phosphatase. So this protein phosphatase enzyme will remain active in the presence of insulin. So insulin role is to dephosphorylate the enzyme. So the glycogen synthase, which is in the phosphorylated state, that is inactive state, in the presence of during epinephrine it will be in the phosphorylated state, so inactive state. Whereas in the case of insulin, this dephosphorylated form of glycogen synthase will become, that is the phosphorylated form, inactive form of glycogen synthase, uh, after removing the phosphate with the help of the enzyme protein phosphatase will become active. It will become, after removing this phosphate, it becomes dephosphorylated form. We all know that dephosphorylated form of glycogen synthase is active. So in the presence of insulin, glycogen synthesis will take place. So in the presence of insulin, glycogen synthase will be active. Okay. So that is dephosphorylated form. Insulin role is to trigger protein phosphatase. These are the two concepts you have to remember. Insulin is to trigger protein phosphatase, whereas cyclic AMP is to trigger the enzyme protein kinase. Kinase means phosphorylation. So whatever enzyme come closer to it, it will phosphorylate. Insulin's role is to trigger the enzyme called protein phosphatase by uh, inhibiting this inhibitor phosphate. So it will also, insulin will go and inhibit this activation of this inhibitor protein. So inhibitor protein will be in the inactive state in the presence of insulin. So insulin will so that this inhibitor protein also is inactive. So protein phosphatase will remain active in the presence of insulin. It will go and dephosphorylate the enzyme. So here glycogen synthase, which is phosphorylated form, now it has become, in the presence of insulin, it has become an active form, dephosphorylated form. So glycogenesis will take place. So regulation by glycogenesis by CAMP means adenylate cyclase will convert ATP into cyclic AMP. It will in turn will activate the enzyme protein kinase, CAMP dependent protein kinase. So in the absence of this epinephrine and glucagon, this protein kinase will be inactive. In the presence of epinephrine and glucagon, CAMP will be produced in excess amount. This will activate the protein kinase. So the protein kinase role is to phosphorylate this glycogen synthase. So phosphorylated form of glycogen synthase is inactive. So active form is converted into inactive form. Glycogenesis will be inhibited in the presence of cyclic AMP. In the presence of insulin, protein phosphatase will be triggered so that in reverse action will take place. Phosphorylated form will be converted into dephosphorylated form. Glycogenesis will be stimulated. This is how glycogenesis will be regulated. Subscribe and support the channel Biochemistry DSP. Thank you for watching this video.